for women. If you are immigrant and if you just move to America, Canada, Australia and New Zealand, and if you are debating whether should you buy a house there or should you buy a house back in India, from the investment perspective, where would you make more money or what's more safer option? So this video is for you guys. In this video I will talk about the repair, the cost of the houses, the price for the insurance, selling the houses, house depreciation, and just overall idea of having a house in India or having a house in any of the other Western countries. I will talk all currencies in US dollars so people can understand me better. In India, in a smaller villages, the house costs about 100,000 to 150,000 US dollar. Whereas if you go in Bombay, Delhi, Madras or Calcutta, the bigger city, the houses cost about $500,000 US dollar or up. I'm talking about a 2-bedroom hall kitchen, something decent. Whereas in US, house cost anywhere in between 250,000 to 500,000. So lowest, if you see the poor people can afford more in India. You can buy something decent for 100,000 in India, whereas in US 100,000 you would have a trailer or something very old house. So when you are looking for the house, it's easy to find houses in US. There is lots of real estate agents, there is lots of websites, but they will all cost you about 4 to 5%. Whereas in India, the real estate agent will charge you 1% or 0.5% of the property. So if you buy a house for 100,000 in India, you have to pay 500 US dollar or 1,000 US dollar to the real estate agent. Whereas in the US, you have to pay about 5 to 6,000 US dollars. Renting in India, it's super easy because it's overpopulated country, and you would have tons and tons of inquiry about renting the people. You always have to take an interview, you would have a deposit, and you would have no trouble finding the good tenant in India. People would have references that their money would be in your account every first of the month, and you would have no trouble at all. Plus, the law in India are pretty rigid, and if you want to get rid of the tenant who doesn't pay, it's not hard. You can get rid of them pretty easy. Whereas in US or in Australia or New Zealand or Canada, if you are renting the place, it's basically rent the tenants market. So it's lots of competition out there. There is many places out there for rent. The tenant would bargain on your price for the rent. Plus, you have to go and find something with decent people, because there are many people here, they don't have a job or something. So you would be putting yourself into trouble if you end up getting some tenant who doesn't have a job or who works for a bit until he finds a house and stuff like that, and then he doesn't have a job, and you are pretty much stuck with them. There is a more party culture in the US, so people would invite lots of people to their home and have fun with have a fun party, and that can destroy your house. Whereas in India, the people don't take that. It's pretty straightforward. Maintenance and repair. All the Indian houses are made of the bricks, and they're solid, so it does not really require any maintenance unless you have you want to make some changes or modification. There's a little here and there, but it's after 10 or 15 years people color their houses, or they do a little patch up work just to make expression of the house, but not really. You don't really need lots of repair in a bricks houses in India. Whereas in US, it's wooden houses. The roof goes off. It's always something. It's the wall, the windows you have to change. The doors are leaky, and especially the weather. They have lots of snow, rain, summer, and a change of the weather that affects the wood in a harsh way. And just keeping the property in US, it's expensive, because at the end of the day, you have to keep paying money for the repair just to keep your house up to date in similar condition. Whereas in India, if you have a house and if you bought it, just lock it up, and if you come back after 4 or 5 years, you just need a good cleanup and it's ready to go. You just change the paint, and it's ready to go. So repair or maintenance in India is much lower than in US, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, and it's only because of the way they build the house. It's the wooden houses, and it's all temporary thing. Coming from India, whatever I see here for the house, it looks very plasticky and very cheapo stuff. It's nothing solid. Everything is breakable and stuff like that. So that's what it is. Insurance for the house. In India, I haven't seen many people who would have insurance, because you don't really need insurance. If you go to the insurance company and try to insure a house, they would probably laugh at you, because you don't need insurance in India, because all the houses are made of bricks, and nothing would happen to them. There is no fire or no effect of the windstorm or something like that. Recently, in past few years, there is a problem with the earthquakes. So there is an insurance policy for that, but it's very minimum, and not everybody does it. So insurance in India, it's very low, or almost you don't have to pay anything to the insurance. Whereas in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and America, you pay 0.25 to 0.2% of the price of the insurance each year, I think. So if you have a house for $100,000, you would pay about $200 per month just for the insurance. So insurance are expensive in a Western country, where in India you don't pay any insurance at all. Cost of electricity. In India, I have a property in India. Normally what I do when I travel, when I'm not in India, I just call the electric company and I cancel my power. And they would charge me nothing. Basically, if I don't leave, I don't pay. Simple as that. Whereas in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and America, and those countries, you have to keep your electricity on. You have to keep your heating on, because in winter the temperature goes up to minus 30, minus 35, and if you don't keep your heating or electricity on, your pipes for the water would freeze and will blow up. So the heating bills are expensive in America because of the weather. Whereas in India, you don't have to pay anything for the heating or even for the electricity during the summer. You can just open the window, and if you are okay, you can survive with that little fan or something like that. Safety. In America, it's pretty safe. You just need an alarm, but you do have to pay every month a little bit of money to the alarm company. They would come and check your house if there is alarm goes off or something like that. Whereas in India, houses are pretty safe. You just tell your neighbors and they will keep an eye on you. You just give them number and they will keep an eye on you. And in last 20 years, India is more and more safer each day. So I don't see any reason for worrying about safety in India. Selling the house. Selling the house is super easy in India, because it's overpopulated country, and the land goes by square inch in Mumbai and Delhi. And the way you do it, you just have to tell your neighbors, and within 1 or 2 days you will have start getting your offer. Unless you really putting up your price way too much, then you have to wait a little bit. But if you are putting the market price, you can cash out your property pretty much on the same day, and people would give you 25% token money in a week or so. But if you are ready to give them an interest cut for the first 3 months or something, they will pay the whole payment in 1 day. So that's how it works in India. If you are planning to sell a house, people will pay you the money in 1 week. All of them, if you are ready to give them a little discount on their interest price for the 3 months. Whereas in America, selling the house can be challenging if you are in the wrong time at the wrong place. You have to keep putting the advertisement into the newspaper. You have to give a 4 or 5% to the real estate agent. And then also I have seen many places, many places that is out for sale, and they're out for sale for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and they're stuck with them. There is no buyer out there, or they would get a ridiculous offer. So that's the problem with America. If you are not in the right place, that means you're stuck. And getting into the right place, what I mean by that, it's you have to invest more in order to get into the right place. If you have a property which is waterfront, or which is a good part of the neighborhood, you'll be paying high money, and then it will be a fast sellable. Another thing, if you buy a house in US, you have to end up buying all the stuff. This is for the winter. You have to use it to remove the snow. You have to learn how to split the wood if you are trying to save electricity, and it's lots of labor, and that's how you save money in US. So even whether you leave it or not, you have to keep doing it. In America, the gardening, it's a people, if you don't care, your neighbor will complain to the city. So you have to have your garden equipments in line too. And this thing cost money, you know. It's lots of little nits and bits, lots of little pieces. If you add them together, it costs a bit more money to keep your house going in US compared to India. Yeah, that's right. I don't speak good English.